sesta fila invece per Franca e per Michiovic, poi Ricciarini con Pantila, Coldani con Ligne, poi Becar con l'altro Schiff, con
Welcome to another racing weekend here in the 2022 Clio Cup Series. My name is Chaz Draycott and I'm very excited to be back on site again with this wonderful European Championship that has been so exciting year on year. It is great to be back at Monza as well. Last time we were here in October 2021, it was a very wet, windy affair, to be honest with you. It was really not the best of conditions, but as you see right now, we have gorgeous sunshine and not a lot of wind here at this fantastic, legendary Italian circuit. We've got fans in much bigger numbers than we had last year as well for the weekend, which is great to see. Of course, the world now moving on very much from the COVID-19 pandemic. We have seen motorsport thriving once again completely. And we have another very big grid as well for this weekend. So far, we have 43 drivers confirmed to be on the grid for the race. We've had a few incidents over the weekend already, though. There was a massive accident in practice just yesterday between Damiano Puccetti and his teammate Felice Gelmini. There was also another driver involved, actually. I think it was Brigatti that was involved in that one, but it doesn't look like he's going to be taking to the grid, I don't think. I think the car was too badly damaged, unfortunately. Just one missed braking point around here at Monza can cause quite the accident. However, at the end of the day, all the drivers are okay. The cars stood up very well, and it just once again shows how safe these little Renault Clios are. They're very sturdy bits of kit, to be honest, and that's why the racing is so good. You know, we have a lot of door-to-door racing in this championship. It's not always intentional contact or anything malicious, but it's just hard racing, and the cars can put up with it very well. There's the 162 machine of Alejandro Schimpf. He's going to be starting this race from 18th on the grid, driving for Cotato Automotion. We had 45 drivers listed to start the weekend, so to have 43 of them still on the grid, it's still a massive number, isn't it? There's Jacopo Chimenez, number 82. He's going to be starting this race quite a bit further down in 31st position. But the thing is, it's so close with all the lap times all the way down. It was crazy just to see how close they all were. I'm going to check actually what the pole time was in comparison. Although for some reason on my laptop it doesn't seem to want to move right now. But everybody's making their way around to the grid. I've just seen David Puget rock up to pole position. Now to re-explain, or to explain to any of you that haven't watched Clio Cup Series before, we basically have a number of championships all rolled into one. We have Clio Cup France, Clio Cup Italy, Clio Cup Spain, Clio Cup Eastern Europe and Clio Cup Europe. The drivers can opt to race in 2 of those championships over the course of a season, and only 2. And basically they score points based on their positions within those classes. Within that, we also have the Challengers Cup and the Gentleman Drivers Cup as well. Gentleman Drivers, of course, some of the veterans of the grid, let's call them. And the Challengers Cup for drivers that are under a certain age or haven't done a certain number of races within the championship. It's a wonderful amount of people down on the grid at the moment, all waiting at the front. I can see Jerzy Spinkovic just making his way to 2nd spot on the grid. He's having one hell of a season, to be honest, in Clio Cup Europe, which is considered as the overall standings. He's actually 5th outright and the highest placed challenger of anybody. Our beautiful Megane RS safety car has just made its way off the start-finish line and around on an inspection lap to make sure the circuit is all clear of any debris, spillages and anything else that may affect the racing. We've also got a number of guests here this weekend from Castrol, and we hope they are enjoying their weekend. I can see them all having a bit of a grid walk now and a photo opportunity taken at the front of the grid, which is great. They've all been getting involved and being well treated. There's your pole sitter, David Pouget, and Benedict Guéa on the right-hand side there, just giving him a final pep talk, but they both certainly know the ropes by now. They've been doing this long enough. Very experienced. And a great team at GPA Racing. Plenty of drivers in their squad. I've seen up to 7 cars from that team at one race before. Jerzy Spinkovic there, starting second on the grid. He's currently going for the outright Challengers Cup this season. He's currently the highest challenger, like I said, in Clio Cup Europe, and he's not far behind David Pouget, actually. He's got 4 overall podiums this season in Clio Cup Europe as Jerzy Spinkovic. David Pouget's got 7 with 2 race wins. But this is the man that you need to keep your eye on. Anthony Gerardo. He had a bit of a rough 2021. He was very fast, but there was a lot of penalties and a lot of incidents for Anthony. He's a very exciting driver, that's safe to say. But this season, he is the winningest driver. Yes, that's a real word. The winningest driver in Clio Cup Europe. He has 6 race wins and 9 podiums. He's only 18 points behind team boss Nicolas Milan, and he's going to start a bit further back. Here is the grid then, to give you a quick look. David Pouget and Jerzy Spinkovic on the front row, followed by Anthony Gerardo and Mattia Lanciolotti in 4th position for Faro Racing. Nicolas Milan will start in 5th with Adrian Schimpf alongside him on row 3. Then we have Marc Guillot and Felice Gelmini. It's a miracle to see that car is back out after the accident the other day. Giacomo Trebbi next up alongside Steve Juif, the number 100 machine, starting 10th, with Luca Franca and Nikola Milkovic on row 6. Then we have Christian Ricciarini alongside Yuso Pantia. Gian Alberto Coldani, which I think is definitely the coolest name on the grid, lines up alongside Chen Han Lin, another driver that is continuously getting quicker and always improving. Thomas Pekar is next up alongside Alejandro Schimpf on row 9. Then we have Julien Bazire and Cosimo Papi on row 10. Watch out for those two because they're both very exciting as well. Andreas Stucki next up, the Swiss driver in 21st alongside Sandro Cutini. Then we have Sandro Subeck from Austria sharing row 12 with Alex Lanciolotti. That's only about halfway. Guillaume Mayo is next up in car 99 on row 13 alongside Quinto Stefano, one of the gentleman drivers in the field. He's going to be looking to try and take the win in that category in this race. Andrea Cordini and Pietro Blumetti make up row 14. Then we have Alessio Alcidi and Vittorio Zadotti on row 15. They round out the top 30. They're ahead of Jacopo Chimenez and René Steenmetz from the Arenyadak branded machine in 32nd. Then we have Henrik Siebel alongside Due in the 53 car. Then it's Horn alongside another very cool name, Antonio Benedetto Silvestrini in 36th position. William Mazzetti is next up alongside Daniele Pasquale on row 19. Then we have Michel Fay and Paolo Pirovano, who is the last driver that set a time during the session. And then the final 3 did not get times in. Well, one of them did. I'll explain that in a second. Stefan Polderman and Damiano Pacetti did not get times in during qualifying. Stefan actually bringing out the red flags during quali. But Gabrielle Torelli is the driver that is currently top of Clio Cup Italy. He's only 6 points clear of Felice Gelmini, but he got given a penalty and thrown to the back of the grid for not having 3 litres of fuel in the car by the end of the qualifying session. And as per the regulations, they have to have at least 3 litres in by the time the session comes to a close and they go into scrutineering and parc ferme. So all of his lap times were deleted from the session and he would be allowed to start from the very back. As you see, David Pouget is not hanging about on this warm-up lap. He's getting on with proceedings. Jerzy Spinkovic alongside him is going to be very excited about the prospect of a win here. But the thing is, this is one of those, what I call a NASCAR-style race, where you could start 43rd on the grid and probably still win the race. I wouldn't put it past Gabrielle Torelli anyway. We know what he's like. He's very, very quick. He's won the last 4 Clio Cup Italy races in a row. He's been on the podium in every single race in the category so far this season. And in Clio Cup Eastern Europe as well, Marc Guillot leads that one with 3 wins, and he's also been on the podium in every race as well. Anthony Gerardo, though, has 7 podium appearances, and guess what? Well, they're all race wins. So that dark blue and orange car that you see there is certainly the man to watch. Anthony Gerardo is a real star in this championship. Very, very quick. He had a nightmare weekend here last year. He had that amazing slide through Ascari that we caught on camera. That I was very, very excited about at the time. But on the warm-up lap for the second race, he was warming up his tyres in the wet and trying to get as much temperature into them as possible. And he ended up spinning the car and putting it into the barrier before the race had even gotten away. It was a rather embarrassing moment for him, but luckily he was able to top the weekend in the earlier session and at least enjoy himself before that moment. So here we are then, the weaving underway. As mentioned, very different conditions to what we had last year. It is due to rain tomorrow though, so you can expect to see quite the difference when it comes to tomorrow afternoon's race. I do have the full programme available actually. I'll just give you an idea of when that race is tomorrow. I believe it's about 20 to 2 in the afternoon. Spot on, yes. 1:40 local time tomorrow is the second race of the weekend. Now everybody just taking their time, making sure they're all well prepared. There is the 333 machine, which is being driven in this race by Paolo Pirovano. Now it's quite an interesting car that gets shared by 2 drivers over the course of the weekend. It's known as the Press League car by Oregon Team. So Oregon Team, a very well-known Italian racing team, race in many different disciplines all over the country and all over Europe, and even the world. But they basically have a set sort of mini championship within itself where the drivers get a go in this car per race, and they just see who can score the best and who can get the best results, basically. It's always quite the wild card as well, to be honest with you, because some of the drivers we have in there don't always have as much experience as a lot of other drivers on the grid. So sometimes you see quite a bit of argy-bargy and some very feisty racing indeed from that car. There is Gabrielle Torelli, car number 12, a driver that I remember most for an incredible victory last season at the Hungaroring. I believe it was the second race of the weekend, where he started on dries while it was raining, and as the line dried out, eventually he went on to win from dropping somewhere like 25th in the field. Dropped all the way back down. Thought he'd made the wrong decision, and then eventually came through to win the race. He was almost 5 seconds or even 6 seconds a lap quicker than everybody else at certain points. Him and his teammate both tried that as well. His teammates this weekend are Alex and Mattia Lanciolotti. Mattia starting 4th on the grid outright, ahead of people like Nicolas Milan, Marc Guillot. It's a fantastic qualifying performance by him. Fantastic qualifying performance though by David Pouget, and I tell you what, it comes at a good time as well, because this time last year David Pouget had a very big accident during qualifying here, where there was a big train of cars all trying to slipstream each other, and somebody at the front slammed on the brakes and David went very hard into the wall. He was luckily okay, and he certainly turned it around this year. Now I'm looking at the cars lining up on the grid, and David Pouget is pretty much in the optimum position. There is a yellow line painted next to the grid boxes, so they know roughly where to try and line up their front wheels, but Gerardo is about half a car length back from it, and Pouget is borderline crossing the front of his grid spot, I must say. There's your conditions at the moment. Then it's 25 degrees on the track, which isn't too hot to be honest with you, but that's going to feel quite nice for these drivers. It's in that sort of middle window where grip is very, very good, and it's not going to kill the tyres after just one lap. These cars, of course, front-wheel drive, around 200 brake horsepower, so they certainly do put quite a lot of force through those front tyres. The rears are just along for the ride, as I always say. But there you see this massive grid of wonderful little Clios. I am genuinely so excited to be back with the championship again. The last time I was with them was the Hungaroring in July. And this is unfortunately my last visit to a circuit with this championship for this year. My colleague and friend David Addison will be taking over the duties from the rest of the season. Here we go then, the first race of the weekend at Monza in Clio Cup Series gets underway, and there's loads of wheel spin from Jerzy Spinkovic. Anthony Gerardo gets a good launch off the line. It's a great getaway as well by Marc Guillot with a 116 machine as well going with him. That's Giacomo Trebbi. There's a bit of shuffling in the background as Pouget moves over to the right-hand side. There's a move over to the left now by Cristian Ricciarini, I believe it is, in the 107. He gets shuffled onto the grass. There's a bit of a lock-up in the middle. Oh, there's a big hit. There's a massive hit. Nicolas Milan's been clouted. Jerzy Spinkovic has been hit as well. There was a car went straight on in that, and I'm really hoping it is not Mattia Lanciolotti, but I believe it is. Mattia Lanciolotti, I think, just missing his braking point. The 113 car is in trouble as well. An avoidance there around the outside. Somebody's having to jump off the side of the circuit. 113 was Adrian Schimpf that was also hitting that, and there's big damage to Jerzy Spinkovic's car. Unbelievable stuff It just takes one missed braking point. You can see the damage on Milan, but look at that. Pouget and Gerardo flying away at the front now, and whoa, Juif gets right into the back of Nicolas Milan there, pushes him into the Della Roggia chicane. You can hear either contact or splitters and things shuffling along the floor. There's loads of smoke in the middle of the field as well, but look at them all trying to sort it out as they go into the first of the two Lesmos. There's your order then. Pouget, Gerardo, Gelmini, Milan, Juif, Pantia up into 6th position. Where's Yusup Pantia jumped up from? Flipping heck, he was way further down the order than that, wasn't he? He was down in 14th place, as there is Spinkovic. Big damage to the left-hand side of his car, and I'd argue there's big damage to the right of it as well. There's Gabrielle Torelli trying to go through the middle of the pair of them. Oh, flipping out, flamboyant Italian as ever by Gabrielle Torelli. But look, Nicolas Milan has got, well, bodywork damage at the worst, or at the best, I should say, to the front right corner of that car. I wonder if it's going to be rubbing on the tyre and affecting it in any other way. But he's got Yusup Pantia right behind him. And now the slipstreaming begins, but I think the battle that we're going to see here through this race is going to be the top three, because Gelmini is going to close up on Gerardo and Pouget. The slipstream in these cars is massive. It always keeps the racing nice and close. Nikola Milkovic up there as well in the order. Milkovic up to 7th place after starting 12th. Ahead of him there side by side, that's Giacomo Trevi to the left hand side of Yusup Pantia. Gerardo really closing in on the race leader Pouget as they come past the commission box. 3 wide further back as well. We've got Juif on the right hand side. He's going to try this in that number 100 machine down the inside. Pantia has been absolutely mugged by the look of it. There's your lead pair, then Felice Gelmini is, whoa, Nikola Milkovic straight over the chicane. Wow, that's frightening. You really get an idea of the speeds there that they're doing, and look, so many people missing their braking points. That seemed like a very exaggerated missing of the braking point there by Nikola Milkovic. Luckily, there was that huge gap in the pack for him to fly through, but my goodness me, that was terrifying. Gives you a clear idea of the closing speeds as Juif really gets close to the back of Nicolas Milan. As, oh, Nicolas gone straight on. I did think it looked a little bit hasty from Nicolas as he turned in, maybe just trying to avoid contact from the car behind, feeling that he was pushing too hard and maybe bracing himself for a bit of an impact, but wow. Torelli up 18 places, William Mazzetti up 11. There's some huge movers so far, but we've had Spinkovic, Zadotti, also Nicolas Milan actually showing us dropping down the order as well. But he's definitely there. Maybe it's knocked the transponder out of the car. And then apparently down in 40th place we have Alejandro Schimpf. It's Adrian Schimpf, apologies. Car 113. Alejandro Schimpf is still running. He is currently, though, in 17th place. Here's your leaders. Gelmini taking plenty of curb. Here's a look at the start again. Clearly something went on further back as, look, car's not quite getting away. That's Andreas Stuckey. Guillaume Mayo goes to the left-hand side. And this is what happened into turn 1. So down the inside, oh, it was one of the Cota Automotion cars. I believe it was actually Adrian Schimpf that missed his braking point. He went into the side of Spinkovic, who then smashed into the rear corner of Mattia Lancelotti, and then Spinkovic's car went into Nicolas Milan. And this is what happened earlier. Oh my goodness me, it's no wonder Nikola Milkovic was flying into the chicane. Wow, I did wonder whether there might have been contact between himself and Yusup Pantia. But look at the speeds in which he comes through the shot there. That is very scary. I think that might be Jerzy Spinkovic going back on the circuit from the pit lane there, but he's come out right in front of the pack. He needs to get a move on and get out of the way. I think, yeah, he's going to go straight on to make sure he's not in anybody's way. Good thinking. It is indeed Jerzy Spinkovic that's come back out. That is devastating stuff. We still have a humongous train of cars as well. Oh no, that is Mazzetti pitching somebody into a spin. He was right behind Alessio Alcidi. I think that was him in the number 38 car that's gone around. But look at these top three breaking away. Nicolas Milan must be defending for his life in the background to try and hold everybody back. But Gerardo now chasing down David Pouget. These two both fighting in Clio Cup Europe. Gerardo is in Eastern Europe, or the Eastern European Championship, I should say. Pouget is not. There is Trevi trying it once again on the 191 car of Luca Franca in the middle of the pack. Luca goes a little bit deep through the first Lesmo, moves over to the right-hand side. Trevi still looks down the inside, and Well, they've both got Yusuf Pantia to worry about as well, by the look of it. There's the 162 machine, which is Alejandro Schimpf, of course related to Adrian Schimpf that was involved in that early incident. But it just shows you how easily it can go wrong here at Monza. These heavy braking points that you've got so long to think about, they can really catch people out. It's down the inside there. That was the 191. Luca Franca making a move. They've got this on Gianalberto Goldani in the 155 car. He's in that fight as well. And Quinto Stefana is in the pit lane. After earlier contact, potentially, as there's a little bit of contact, a bit friendly stuff by Gerardo and Pouget. You can see the wonderful stickers they've got on the windows, which show the different races and series that they've won. It's a great way of decorating the cars, to be honest with you, to show you the pedigree of the drivers that are behind the wheel. And Pouget has got the run out of Curva di Alboreto and gets back in front, just slides in front of Gerardo. Maybe not. He says, I'm not going to risk that at this sort of speed. Maybe he's just trying to unsettle Gerardo a little bit, but at the end of the day, if there's anyone in this paddock that you're going to have a very hard time unsettling, it's Anthony Gerardo. Look at the determination around the outside into the Rettifiglio chicane. That is gorgeous stuff, and what a cutback from Pouget. But look, all the time Gelmini back there, and then there's another race happening in the background. Look at how many of them are all together. Nicola Milkovic mounts the curb. Pouget round the outside at Curva Grande, but look at the slipstream here from Gelmini. I would not put it past him, making it 3 wide. Pouget's wing mirror decides that it wants to leave. Gerardo's wing mirror closed in as well on the left-hand side. And look at that down the inside. Gelmini says, thank you very much, boys. I'll have 2 for 1. Lovely. Absolutely lovely by Felice Gelmini. Big black door on the side of the car shows you it's not had an easy weekend, but he goes through down the inside. He cut a lot of the curb on the inside, I have to say, but still, that looked all fine to me, considering the circumstances. Is off the road. That's the... Who was that, actually? Was that the number 4 of Julien Bazire, I think, having a bit of a detour? Once again, there's Luca Franca at 191. And still, this battle at the front goes on. This is epic stuff between these three. Still 17 minutes and a lap of this race left to go. Let's try and figure out this battle behind them. We've got Milkovic, then Juif, then Ricciarini, then Franca, Coldani, Trebi, Bazire, Pantia, Guillaume, Peccar, Lin, Schimpf, Mayo and Lancialotti. Lancialotti at the moment leading the gentleman drivers as Gelmini throws it sideways into Ascari. They really do have to throw these cars about. It makes for incredibly exciting racing. Just watching one of these cars on a fast lap on its own as well is always very exciting because of how much the driver needs to wrangle it. Pouget trying to just move over a little bit. Now here's a look back at what happened further down as, yep, Mazzetti just has Alessio Alcidi hooked over the front of his car. You'll see it here on the left-hand side. Alessio was round the outside and then William wanted to turn in. But unfortunately, there was an overlap and Mazzetti's been involved in more issues as well. That's Due, actually, and Henrik Siebel getting very, very friendly through the first of the Lesmos. Down the start-finish straight comes Pouget all over the back of Gelmini with Gerardo behind. This little 12-wheel Clio. Certainly looking very feisty at the moment. As look at them all shimmying around on the brakes. You can go to the doctors for things like that, but Gerardo says have some of this. Gives him a bit of a biff in the door. You can hear the noise of the contact. God, they just can't sit still, can they, on the brakes? It was great to see. There's cutting the chicane there. Is that Luca Franca? I think it might have been, you know. We've got a massive train of cars there with all 3-digit numbers on them, so it's hard to tell them apart from distance. A lot of them are just white cars as well with one sticker on. Anyway, Pouget's wing mirror gets more and more lively, and so does the racing with Gerardo, but all this time that they're battling, Amici Gelmini can disappear up the road. Everybody came to this weekend knowing that Gelmini was the driver to watch. Whenever he turns up here in Clio Cup Series, we know he is going to be very, very fast, especially on home soil. He's been having a very tough season in TCR Europe as well, it must be said. But he's a warrior, and he continues on fighting as well. Oh no, there's more fighting there. That was Coldani making contact with Giacomo Trebi. Giacomo just turned in. They're 5 wide going into Lesmo 2. That's not wise, and Julien Bazire knows that. Turns out of it. Thomas Peccar around the outside of his teammate Yusuf Pantia. We've got Chen Han Lin in there as well with Guillaume Mayo. Side by side at the front of this field, though, is Coldani. And Thomas Peccar still getting a push from Giacomo Trebi now, who's, of course, going to think that that was Coldani's fault. As, whoa, hello, Nikola Milkovic gets a push from Juif into Ascari. Steve's certainly shown that he likes to push people out of the way at this point. Not sure if he's just a little bit eager. He is one of the drivers that's not listed as a challenger or a gentleman driver in car 100. And now Nikolaj Milkovic wants another go. No windscreen number on Milkovic's car. Look how late he's braking, trying it as late as possible to go around the outside of the 100 machine. Nearly leans on him. There's a lot of gravel being kicked up around the exit of Curva di Alboreto, and look at that. Big spread now between Gelmini, Pouget and Gerardo. Not sure what's caused that, but I'm sure that it's Gerardo that's come off worse there because of the fact that he's weaving around as well. Clearly says that he's had something on his tyres. And 2x2 again here into the first chicane, maybe even 3x3 as it's Schweif ahead, Milkovic up in the air goes Luca Franca on two wheels as well. Bye-bye, straight on, another car goes completely straight. Bazare also cutting the chicane. Now I've just seen Gabrielle Torelli in the middle of all that. He's in 16th position from 43rd on the grid. I've been told we can have a quick look back at what happened to Anthony Gerardo as well. This is Giacomo Trebi getting an absolute smack from Coldani. How there wasn't more contact there, I don't know. And Gerardo does it all on his own, look. Goes way out wide, and the beauty of front-wheel drive being that you can just plant your foot to the floor and carry on. And there is the car going straight on, which was Coldani, car 155. Oh, and breathe for a minute. Lovely work as ever by our director to get us all the replays nice and quickly. Love that. And the battles continue, though. There's no time to breathe in Clio Cup Series. Nicolas Milon is dropping down a little bit here. And this could actually give Anthony Gerardo a big helping hand, because in Clio Cup Europe, he is 18 points behind Nicolas Milon. If he finishes in third place, he's going to get 36 points. If Milon finishes in ninth, then there will be 8 points less for Nicolas. But unfortunately, I cannot tell you where he is at the moment, because it says that he's not racing, but he clearly is. So they're going to have to figure that one out. Everybody now just trying to break the slipstream. I say everybody, I mean Steve Schweif, as he comes into Curva di Alboreto. Again, shimmying around on the brakes. Whoa, a quick look down the inside there by Luca Franca. Car 191. Just behind him is Mark Guillot. Mark in a different car for this round of the championship by the look of it. I think he did change the car a couple of race meetings ago. He's usually in just one solid yellow machine. Let the slipstreaming begin. Schweif moves over to the right-hand side. We've got Nikolaj Milkovic staying in the middle of the road. He's left just about a car's width on the left, but more than a car's width on the right, says Luca Franca. Thank you. Almost goes straight on at the chicane, still makes it though. More and more shuffling. And there is more and more progress by Gabrielle Torelli. He's up to 14th place. Oh, contact there with Coldani. And I believe that would have been Adrian Schimpf. Again, the wrong one. Alejandro Schimpf. Adrian Schimpf was the one that was out earlier on. I'll try and remember that by the time the race is finished. Look at this now as Milkovic moving around a lot all over the back of Luca Franca. This is the battle for 4th position now. Best of the rest, basically, when you compare them to where our current provisional podium finishes are. They're way up the road. Still over 10 minutes of this race left to go yet. A lot could still change. There's Gabrielle Torelli on the back of Juuso Pantia. Juuso started this race in 14th position. He's currently, I think, in 12th. It does say 11th, but we do have Milan. Oh, he has actually popped back up there now. He's 9th. So, yeah, Pantia is in 11th place. Apologies. Here's Guillaume Mayo and Andreas Stuckey side by side, going down towards Ascari. Once again, Milkovic tries it on Franca. Nothing doing there. Apparently car 51 has cut the circuit at turn 1, and that's been noted by the stewards. Lovely shot there of just how the weight transfers one way then the other as these cars make their way around Ascari. There's your two leaders then. Gelmini and Pouget have really dropped Gerardo now. Now Pouget is going to be getting a little bit of slipstream from that sort of distance from Gelmini. It's about 0.7 of a second, so he'll actually be getting quite a lot of slipstream from there. You do tend to get it up to about 1.5 seconds back from the car in front in these Clios as Pouget closes and closes on the brakes. There you see the difference as well, look. 213.9 kilometers an hour, and even Gerardo, about 4 seconds back from them, still getting a bit of slipstream as well. And there, look at the difference. Milkovic was near the front of this as well. He nearly hits the skybox. As oh, hello. Schrief gets an absolute clout in the door again. I think that might have been Mark Guillaume trying to come through there. Had the door very firmly closed in his face. David Pouget does the fastest lap in 2 minutes 12.340. Once again, phenomenal entertainment though by Clio Cup Series. Again, look at that by Milkovic. These guys have to wrestle the car so much on the brakes because at the end of the day, that's their prime opportunity to try and get it turned in or turned out. As Luca Franca goes off on the exit of the De La Roggia chicane, Milkovic moves in front, says thank you, turns in very late for the Lesmo. Those two have broken away a little bit here as Marc Guillaume tries to get by Steve Schwief. Haven't fully figured out his name yet, unfortunately. I did try and find him before the race to go and ask him. But we have a very big paddock here with Clio Cup, as you can imagine. 43 cars on the grid. It's certainly a busy place to be. So we'll give you a quick rundown of the top 10. Felice Gelmini leads David Pouget. Those two are quite a long way clear now of Anthony Gerardo. Then Nikolai Milkovic is leading the Challengers Cup in this race. Then we have Luca Franca and Steve Schrief. Oh, there's big contact between Mazzetti. And who else would that have been in there with him, actually? Oh, there's the contact between Schimpf and Coldani from earlier on. I'm trying to figure out which of the other cars that was involved there with William Mazzetti, but unfortunately it's completely escaping. Could have been Daniele Pasquale, but he's a few seconds back actually on Mazzetti even now. This is the lead pair though, and they are getting closer and closer together. The gap last time round was 0.73 of a second, now it's 0.63 of a second. So bit by bit, Pouget is reeling Gelmini in. As here is that excellent fight again into the first chicane. Schwief now moving ahead of Luca Franca. It's hard to spot Marc Guillaume at this point, because normally, well there he is popping out, he's normally in his bright yellow car like I said before. So Marc is often very easy to spot compared to a number of the others, but not so much this time. He's down the inside now of Luca Franca. Not much of a fight put up there by Luca. He wants to make sure that they don't lose the two cars ahead of them. There's Henrik Siebel that has been given a warning for track limits. Car 51. He's racing for the now 3-car team that is Carpec Racing, run by Thomas Pekar, the Czech driver. Certainly a lovely bloke, very exciting to watch on a racetrack as well. First commentated on him at Hockenheim last year during the 2021 championship. There is Christian Ricciarini. I was expecting to see a little bit more of Christian in this race as, oh, out of the race there goes the 27 car, which is Vittorio Zadotti. And you can hear the announcer even confirming that as well. Schwief's gone a little bit deep into Ascari there. He's going to lose a bit of time to Milkovic, who is riding that curb all over the inside curb as he goes through the right-hander. This is usually the part of the race where the drivers that have been really pushing hard have killed the tyres now. This is where they start to properly fall off a little bit. As Pouget moves out of the slipstream over to the left-hand side, Gelmini moves over to the left as well. It's almost like Felice's trying to give him the slipstream. Normally this is the other way around. Pouget would be moving over and then Gelmini would be getting out of the way. Maybe he feels that Pouget is trying to move out of the slipstream due to temperature issues. He's not had any major contact or anything that could have affected the car, but if for any reason it might be overheating slightly, maybe Felice's thinking, right, well, stuff it, we'll move in front of him. Give him loads of hot air rather than the clean, cool air. Here's Schwief going past Nikola Milkovic. Everybody shaking their heads at each other in the literal sense in the cars as Guillaume gets squeezed out at the first part of the chicane there. And look at this, look who's joined the party. Unbelievable. Gabrielle Torelli now inside the top 10 in this race. He started 43rd on the grid. It's amazing. Up into 10th place, 33 positions gained. I can't believe I'm saying that. 33 places gained for Gabrielle Torelli. I think he qualified about 8th yesterday before his time got deleted. I know he wasn't on the front couple of rows anyway, but now he's right up there. He's ahead of Thomas Pekar, now into 8th position, so made that 35 places gained. Beggars belief. Out of the race, I should say, is Vittorio Zadotti, car 27, one of the Scuderia Costa Ovest cars. As Bazire looks down the inside of Andreas Stuckey, car 4 on car 9, decides to back out of it before they go through the corner. They want to try and stick with the cars ahead of them here. That's the thing at Monza, if you battle too hard and you lose the train that you've been following, it's very, very easy to just drop back and then not have that advantage of all the slipstream. It's good to see this machine going well, the number 100 car, driven by Steve Schwiff. If I have been pronouncing his name wrong, I will apologise to him and correct it later. There, off the circuit, is Horn. And safety car. Safety car is called, understandably. That's at the Della Roggia chicane. And Monsieur Horn is off the road. That was very well beached. If I was a betting man, I'd imagine that he's been tipped to the left-hand side on the way into the chicane. Floored it to go round to the right and just hasn't been able to make it. And there is contact with Damiano Puccetti and I believe Due, cars 43 and 53. Puccetti is another one of those drivers that's always on our screens, but not often for the right reasons, I'm afraid. He seems to be very exciting, but causes quite a bit of contact and has his moments, that's for sure. So now, with just over 2 minutes to go, everything gets... I've just seen something out of the window that I think will certainly attract the wrath of the stewards later on. I've just been told that it is the Della Roggia chicane that Horn is off. We may have a look. I've just seen out of the window, though. Now, I'm not one to whistle blow or to snitch on people, but we saw Damiano Puccetti. There he is, behind Due. He's just gone into the back of him down the straight. That is not going to go down well. So we finally get to sort of dilute things a bit here. You can see the 333 car in the middle of the field there. Now, that is not in its theoretical position. Well, it's a theoretical sort of third place, but the 333 car of Pirovano is actually 35th in the race, but 1 lap down at this point. So the top 10 is this: Felice Gelmini, David Puget, Anthony Gerardo, Steve Schwiff, then we have Nikola Milkovic, Mark Guillaume 6th, then Luca Franca, Gabrielle Torelli, yes really, Thomas Pekar in 9th, and then Christian Ricciurini in 10th. This is on trying to get out of the gravel trap, and as you see, the car is not going anywhere. That's the reason that we are behind safety car now. And we may just get one more lap. Race control has stated that the car is being removed and the driver is okay, and the safety car will be in this lap, I'm told. So we're going to get a 1-lap sprint to the end. Everybody's going to get closed up here, and we're going to get a 1-lap sprint. This is going to be an amazing finish. It's a shame that it's sort of negated the gap for a lot of these drivers after the hard work they've put in already. But this is going to be a very exciting final lap, I can tell you that. So if you're not sat down already, I'm not, I'm stood up, but if you're not sat down already, then please do, because this is going to be a belter. Strap yourselves in. 3 seconds left on the clock, and there it is, ticking down to 0. And we are now on the +1 lap, the final lap of this race. And I feel that Pirovano here might be a bit of a pain in the rear for Anthony Gerardo if he doesn't get out of the way quickly, because they're going to have a restart, but you can't overtake until you get to the line. You can see Puget is holding back a bit here. He wants to get a really big run on Gelmini. I think Felice might have caught him napping here. Gerardo staying over on the left-hand side to make sure it doesn't go past Pirovano, who indicates nicely out of the way, and through they go. So look at this train now, all trying to close in. Juif is absolutely shoving Gerardo down the straight. Everybody fans out, tries to find whatever room they can. Now Pouget will get a big slingshot on Gil. Well, he might not. I was just about to say he's going to get a big slingshot on Gelmini. Oh, he rejoins it into the side of Gerardo. We've got cars straight on. I believe Yusso Pantia was involved in that as well. Gerardo's been shoveled out, you know. Pouget's lost a place, and Juif has come through into second, maybe even just third place. Now Gerardo's involved in that as well. We've got Nikola Milkovic behind him and Gabrielle Torelli. Could Gabrielle Torelli get on the podium here at Monza from 43rd on the grid? Could he do it? They're 3 wide into the Della Roggia chicane. It's Gerardo being pushed by Milkovic. Mayo goes for an absolute holiday in the background, and Gerardo shovels into the side of Pouget, locks up. Pouget goes straight on to the car around. That is Luca Franca. Pouget and Gerardo still side by side. Now they've made their way into Lesmo 1. Torelli now ahead of Juif. As off the road goes Pouget. He's now off in the gravel, but I can't keep up. Oh, Damiano Pachetti's got a souvenir. He's decided not to take the escape road. That's not going to go down well either, Damiano. Someone tells me he's going to get more than a slap on the wrists after this one. That's not going to do the car temps either any good, to be honest. Right then, trying to figure out who this is now. Mark Guillot now pushing the back of Juif. He's on the brakes. You can see him tapping them on and off there. Juif's off the road, nearly in the wall. Flipping out, they're shuffling around. Very, very scary stuff. Torelli now down the inside of Juif. He's going to go ahead into Ascari. Makes it clear. There's Nicolas Milan behind Andreas Stuckey, ahead of Julien Bazire. This has been just as wonderful and bonkers as you'd expect it to be from Clio Cup Series. Sideways there, Chen Hanlin gets a shove from Yusso Pantia. Oh my goodness me, he's gone into the side of him again, and Pantia's around. And that's a big old incident. Hopefully Yusso can catch it, and he does. Unbelievable save that by Yusso Pantia, but the car is still broken. He needs to try and get it off the road. Oh no, he's gone hard into the wall. The car suddenly pitched left. Clearly the suspension was broken. He's tried to save it, but under very mad circumstances. Gelmini takes the win at Monza. Gerardo second. David Pouget next up. Incredible, incredible end to the race. Torelli fourth. Juif finishes fifth ahead of Milkovic, Guillot, Pekar, Ricciarini and Andreas Stuckey. Boy, oh boy, that got scrappy at the end. Not quite sure what happened to Chen Hanlin there, but he seemed to just suddenly just go left into Yusso Pantia. I really hope that wasn't retaliation. I don't think it would be. I know him quite well by now, and he's a really lovely guy. There is the contact between Gerardo and Pouget on the exit of turn 1. Cars off absolutely everywhere. Luca Franca seems to have done that on his own. Let's see what else we can pick apart. So that's Pouget. Yep, he goes off on his own at Lesmo 1. It's a miracle he managed to still end up on the podium, actually, David Pouget. Gets back on. Oh, very scary. And here is the moment then. So lots Chen Hanlin, the white, black and orange car on the left. It doesn't look very good from that angle, does it? Hits the wall very hard, but keep your eye on the orange machine of Yusso Pantia. How nobody else hit him there and how he managed to save that up to that point is a miracle. But watch, look, suddenly it goes that way and then he overcorrects. That's the dangers of front-wheel drive cars. He does an amazing job, though, to get it stopped and make sure that he's not in anybody's way. That could have been a very, very scary accident indeed. It was still scary anyway, and of course we hope that both drivers are all right. But my goodness me. Well, I said strap in, didn't I? There's Anthony Gerardo, clearly very happy with that one because that's going to help him a lot in Clio Cup Europe standings. And Felice Gelmini, well, he would have been expecting to take a lot more points out of Gabrielle Torelli with that one. The gap was 6 points coming into this race, and he's taken 17 out of him now. So he's going to be in the lead by 11 points in Clio Cup Italy. And it's the final rounds this season for Clio Cup Eastern Europe. We need to keep our eye on the battles there as well. Gerardo finishing at the top in that category there. He's going to certainly gain some points back on Mark Guillot. Guillot finished 7th overall. There's the top 10 and Felice Gelmini, Anthony Gerardo and David Pouget. They make up the outright podium. Gabrielle Torelli, unbelievable drive that is, to be fair, to end up in 4th position after all that went on. Then we have Steve Juif, who I must say has been very, very exciting to watch during this one. and I look forward to seeing what he can do in the next race tomorrow. Behind him was Nikolai Milkovic, then Mark Guillot and Thomas Pekar. Christian Ricciarini was second in the Challengers. Nikolai Milkovic won the Challengers in that one, by the way. And then Nikolai Milan was down in 11th ahead of Julian Bazare, Alejandro Schimpf, Giacomo Trebbi, and Alex Lanciolotti won the Gentleman Drivers in 5th position. Next up in the Gentleman Drivers was Douay, and then René Steenmetz will complete their podium. But here is your race winner from 8th on the grid. After a big crash in practice yesterday, Felice Gelmini. He's going to be a very, very happy boy for sure.
Too fast, this guy.
Too fast, this guy. And there you go. Thumbs up, poses for pictures, and another victory for Felice Gelmini. That's his 7th podium and 5th win of the season in the category, and the guys from PMA will give him a very big congratulations.
Mi ricordo ancora come si fa, va?
Anthony Gerardo saying that he is the champion. It's great to see the drivers paying each other compliments. You know, it was a very, very lively race for sure. Incredible pace at the front end of the field, but yeah, Felice just outdid them, played the game, and certainly used all of the slipstreaming and track position to his advantage. Now the team gets their pictures taken as well. I'm sure they'll be on the socials before too long. My good friend Guillaume Renard doing the press releases for Renault. He's got a lot on his plate this weekend, that's safe to say. And here's a quick look back then at how it all unfolded. Jerzy Spinkovic didn't get the best getaway, and Anthony Gerardo jumped him at the start. And everybody tried to shuffle around into what real estate they could find as they made their way into the first chicane. But it was there that things would change very dramatically straight off the bat. A missed braking point for Adrian Schimpf sent a number of cars all into each other. Some of them would not finish the race, others would not recover from damage and have a very difficult time throughout the rest of it. Lanciolotti, one that we lost early on, that I was extremely excited to see come through. This very scary moment between Juuso Pantia, Nikolai Milkovic and Giacomo Trebbi certainly opened a lot of people's eyes as well and raised a few eyebrows. But that meant that the top 3 could get away and have a fantastic fight amongst themselves. Felice Gelmini with a glorious move down the inside to overtake both drivers before each of them started to just throw themselves off the road. Gerardo going off at first and then dropping a lot of time to David Pouget. But a safety car near the end meant that we could get things underway once more with the 3 of them all close together. Gerardo had to defend in the early moments, but as Pouget made mistakes, they suddenly came very close together once again. There were literally cars in the gravel at every single turn and off the road in the final lap, but this is Clio racing and it's always very exciting. Pouget managed to go off once again in the Lesmos, dropping down into 3rd place where he would eventually stay until the very last moments of the race. Bit of an unsavoury rejoin from him and a very unsavoury final moment as Chen Han Lin and Juuso Pantia make big contact, and a very scary incident sees us wrap up the race, but a great win for Felice Gelmini, Gerardo and Pouget joining him on the podium. Well, I feel sorry for everybody else now because they're going to have to spend the rest of their day watching the rest of the motorsport that's surely can't be as exciting as all of that. But still, it's a wonderful, wonderful programme here for this weekend at Monza. I'm certainly going to enjoy the afternoon watching everything else. We've got Porsche Cup Italia here as well this weekend, which make an incredible noise, as I'm sure you all know by now. But the fans and we wait now for the podium, this legendary podium at Monza, which as part of the media you are allowed to go and walk on, as I found out earlier today. It's excellent to be able to step out there onto the podium. It's nice to see that the weather conditions are still Nice and pleasant, though, for the rest of the afternoon. I've told you, and you've been warned now, it will be very, very different tomorrow. I've been told there is going to be not just rain, but heavy rain tomorrow here at Monza. So it's going to be certainly an exciting encounter, that is for sure. But hopefully we will get the drivers out onto the podium any moment now. The rest of the podium and trophy presentations go on in the Renault awning, actually, after the races. So they have, as I mentioned before, a number of championships within championships. So this weekend we have Clio Cup Europe, Eastern Europe and Italy all together. Within each of those categories we have overall, Challengers Cup and Gentleman Drivers as well. So as you can imagine, plenty of podiums and trophies to do. You can hear rounds of applause and cheers coming from somewhere and somebody. But still, we have no drivers on the podium, unfortunately. I've been told that the speaker, as we call them, not commentator, is on the podium now. That's one thing that you've got to get used to with European commentary, being called the speaker. But yes, we have him on the podium now, ready to bring the drivers out one by one. And we'll just get our overall top three who get to stand on this wonderful and very unique podium here at Monza. You can see by the flags as well, I mentioned before, there was very little to no wind earlier today. Normally it can be quite windy here at Monza, but certainly not the way this weekend. And here we go then. David Pouget comes on to the podium in third position. Seems like quite the long walk out over the bridge, actually, to go and collect his trophy. Anthony Gerardo then comes out into second position. Amazing that Anthony managed to recover to second, actually. He was very lucky with that safety car. Certainly closed them all up. And race winner, as we expected, Felice Gelmini. Felice has been pretty unstoppable on these Italian circuits, it has to be said. And another great start to his weekend, especially after the massive crash that he had in practice yesterday. That's a really strong turnaround for PMA. And now we get the national anthem of Italy. And there you go then, the Italian national anthem for Felice Gelmini, with two French drivers joining him on the podium in the form of Anthony Gerardo and David Pouget. Big thumbs up there from Gerardo. He's very, very happy after that one. Certainly fought hard for it. It was great to see this trio at the front of the field, three of the finest Clio racing drivers that we've ever seen. And then these gorgeous trophies now given out. David Pouget adds another one to what I imagine is a humongous trophy cabinet. It's probably an entire garage of trophies, to be honest. There's Tariq Ait Said giving second place to Anthony Gerardo. And handshakes all round for the top three. And then last but very much not least, we have the race-winning trophy for Felice Gelmini. And I'm sure he's going to raise this very high and be a really, really happy boy. Maybe not.